Hello and welcome to Ask the Attorney Anything, my live stream. I'm so happy to have all of you here. I see I have lots and lots of questions already. I'm Rebecca Zung, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that now. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll get notified when I go live just like this right now. So I'm going to just pop into some of the questions that I've already gotten. I have a question from Elizabeth about giving your stuff back. I have gifts. I asked him to give back and he's ignoring me. Is there anything legal I can do? So if it's in the context of a divorce, depending on where you are, and I do need to say that even though I am a licensed attorney, I am not licensed in every jurisdiction in the world, obviously. So anything I give here is not to be construed as legal advice, but rather general advice or thoughts, my thoughts. So with regard to gifts, they are usually, if they're given in the context of a marriage, either community property or marital property, and they're really just something that is dealt with when you deal with the property division or the asset division, either in mediation or at trial. So if there's something specific that you want, you can put that into your request at trial, or you can put that into your request at mediation as well. If you get somebody to agree to return something either through an agreement or maybe you get a court order, then the legal recourse that you have in getting it back is through enforcing that agreement or enforcing that court order. Without having a written agreement or a court order, the only other way that you can do something is through the judge, because remember that the only person that has any power to order somebody to do something is the judge, not you, not your lawyer, not his lawyer, her lawyer, whoever it is that you're dealing with. No one has the power to order somebody to do something other than a judge. So if you don't, get them to just give it back to you because, out of the goodness of their heart, then you'll have to put it in front of the judge through a request, such as like a motion or something like that. And then you have to set it for hearing and then tell the judge why it should be yours. And then the judge will make a decision. Okay, so that's what to do if you have some things that the narcissist still has and you want back. So I would love to know where all of you are tuning in from today. So, and let me take a look at some of the other questions that we have here. What can I do if my ex bribed me to walk away? So anytime you want to modify an agreement, you have to ask for a modification. So there's kind of basically 3 different types of cases that will be taking place in any sort of a divorce. It's like the original action, and then there's modification actions, which modifies anything that you've already agreed to. And then there's enforcement actions where you're trying to make somebody do what they said they were going to do. So, it's either the original action, a modification action, or an enforcement action. Those are generally the 3 types of actions that you see going on in any sort of a case. So if you don't like what you have agreed to already, then you have to try to modify it, or you can try to get it set aside. Any kind of contract law that surrounds the agreements can be applied. So setting aside contracts, normally the way you can set aside a contract is through saying things like that the contract isn't valid for some reason because, maybe of fraud or duress or coercion or incapacity. maybe it's impossible to get it done for some reason. Those are the types of reasons why you can generally set aside agreements, and agreements, even those made in the context of a marriage or divorce, are considered to be contracts. So contract law would apply, whatever the contract law is in your particular jurisdiction. So I see people here from England and Arkansas, Indonesia. Robert from Indonesia. That's pretty cool. Judith, hi Judith from Alabama. Hello, Nancy from Illinois. So, all right. So let me see if I can answer a couple more questions for you. So I see that some people are going no contact. That's always the best thing to do when you're dealing with a narcissist, at least to the extent that you can. If you are, if you have children together or things like that, sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do. And in those cases, you're going to want to create the most steel boundaries that you possibly can, just so that your emotions can stay in check and you can deal with them in an effective way. Because, they do get narcissistic supply from setting off your emotions, from getting you upset, from threatening you, from intimidating you, all of that. They get narcissistic supply from all of that. So, the key to disarming them is going to be in not giving them that supply. They're going to want to continue to get that supply source from somewhere. So just let it not be from you. I mean, honestly, that's how they're built. That's how they're wired. So, they're going to go find it from somewhere else. And until you can stop giving them that supply, they're going to keep coming back to you to get it. So the less contact that you can, do, that the better it's going to be for you, to be honest with you. So I actually have a lot more about this in my webinar, my free webinar, which is the 3 must-have secrets to communicating with a narcissist. And I'll put a link to that in the description below when this is over, so that you can sign up for that if you want a lot more information on that. And I also do a more extended version of the Ask the Attorney Anything in that as well. So let's see. If something isn't written in the agreement, but we agreed to, can we bring it up? So the thing about agreements is they normally have something that we call a merger clause, which basically says that anything that isn't in this agreement isn't, that's it. You're done. All claims that you could have brought in the past are now done. So my guess is that if there's any side agreements or anything like that, it's not going to be allowed to be presented in court. It would probably be precluded from being presented. Normally, whatever's in the agreement is presumed to be what you want it to be in the agreement. They don't allow you to have any outside information or present outside proof of other side verbal agreements, things like that, unless there's some good reason. Maybe there's a spot in your agreement that is ambiguous. And sometimes if it's ambiguous, then they allow what we call parole evidence. I'm giving you lots and lots of legal terms today, but parole is not the same as parole. Like if you're getting out of jail, it's, a certain type of evidence that they allow just to resolve ambiguities in an agreement. But for the most part, they just assume that whatever is written in the agreement is what you've agreed to. So, so that's that. Let's see what else we've got here. Trying to settle out of court. How would you recommend documenting our financial agreement, and what are the most important things to have in it? So you will want to have a marital settlement agreement. And actually, in my SLAY course, I do go through every single section of the financial piece of it. But in general, you're going to want to look at real estate. You're going to want to look at bank accounts, retirement accounts, whether there's going to be any alimony paid, if, if you're, if one person is keeping a house, then, is there a mortgage on it? Do you need to refinance to get the other person's name off the mortgage? You also want to look at transferring of deeds and titles, and make sure you put timelines in there for those sorts of things. All right. So that's it for today. For this version of Ask the Attorney Anything, if I didn't get to your question, come on over and meet me in Facebook. Make sure you check out my Facebook page, which is Rebecca Zung, Top 1% Attorney, Narcissist Negotiation Expert. And like that page, because then you'll know when I go live over there as well. And from there, I'll be going live in Instagram also. So come on over and check me out in Facebook if I didn't get to your question. And or even if you don't have questions, but you just want to hear me answer the other people's questions, because a lot of times, whatever questions you have, other people have as well. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that now. And you can also join me in my free private Facebook group, which is Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. And if you want my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet, you can get that at winmynegotiation.com. So I'm Rebecca Zung. I will see you in the next video. Remember, today's a great day to start negotiating your best life. I'm going right from here to Facebook. So if you want to catch me over there, I'll be there in 1 minute.